Hey everyone, what's going on? On August 31st, we got the story of the death of this racer named Antoine Hubert. And if you've been following my YouTube channel, I have been hinting that we might possibly get a death within racing or within NASCAR on the date of August 31st. And I talked about how it was connected to what I was talking about in 2015 with Kyle Busch hitting the wall and a bunch of other things. And in 2015, in the month of August, we got the death of, this guy, James Campbell Jr. And then we also got the death of Justin Wilson. And I just thought maybe there might be a death within some type of racing or NASCAR this year on August 31st. And then lo and behold, this guy, Antoine Hubert, dies in a crash hitting the wall in Belgium. And what's so interesting about these videos that I have made about Dale Earnhardt's mother dying and then Dale Earnhardt Jr. doing a tribute to his father on August 31st at the race in Darlington is that I mentioned how NASCAR is synced up to France. And France is really important to what is going on this year. This year just so happens to be the 227th anniversary of the fall of the French monarchy. And within this practice of coding numbers into words and phrases that I talk about on this channel, how our media is coded with it, our sports leagues are told history, and how it's all interrelated. And if you pay enough attention, you can pick up on these patterns. But within this coding of numbers into letters and words, French monarchy equals 227. And this year, on August 10th, it was the 227th anniversary of the fall of the French monarchy. And also, if you read out French Revolution equals 227. And the French Revolution began because of an assembly by the Estates General that equals 227. And Napoleon, think about Napoleon and the French Revolution, his birthday just so happens to be the 227th day of the year. And in 2016, we got an attack in Nice, France, on the 227th anniversary of the storming of the Bastille. So this year is really important to France and this number 227. And the reason that it's important to France was because the guy who founded NASCAR, his name just so happened to be Bill France. And notice his name equals 82 in Gematria. I mentioned how this year there was something important to these Francis Bacon ciphers. Let me pull them up here. But it's definitely important. It's a Chinese pig year. Think about bacon, France, the Franks, and so on. Right? Francis Bacon. The NASCAR founded by a guy named Bill France. And his name equals 82. Look what NASCAR equals in these ciphers. 82. Also 111, and he died 111 days before his birthday. Earlier this year, we got a death in NASCAR. It was J.D. Gibbs, who died at the age of 49, and he died on January 11th. Then later, to start off the NASCAR season, Denny Hamlin donated like 111 something dollars, can't remember what it was, 111, and then they did a tribute at the Daytona 500 on lap 11, for a guy who died on the 11th day of the year, and Denny Hamlin went on to win the Daytona 500, the guy who drives the number 11 car even. But J.D. Gibbs was 49 years old. The 49th prime number is 227, right? And this race on August 31st, the Xfinity race where Dale Earnhardt Jr. was going to be racing, 227. Now, let's check out this guy who just died, Antoine Hubert. Notice that he died, first off, notice where he's from. He's from Lyon, France. Really? He's from France, and then he dies in this wreck? And I talked about how NASCAR was all synced up to it. Even further, let's go back here. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was also in a plane crash this year, and it just so happened to be on August 15th. You know what August 15th is? Look at August 15th. That is Napoleon's birthday. 227th day of the year. So Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets in a plane crash on the 227th day of the year. Bill France founds NASCAR. His father also died at the age of 49, and the race that he raced in was on the 49th day of the year. And remember, the 49th prime is 227. So then on this day where I'm talking about there might be a possible death in racing, we get the death of a guy from France, and he died in this town called Stavelot, Belgium. Look at Stavelot in Gematria. Stavelot, 227. Would you believe it? And what else is interesting is this guy's birthday, September 22nd. September 22nd just so happens to be when the French Republic was founded. 227 years ago on this guy's birthday. So 2019 on September 22nd, the French Republic will be 227 years old. What are the odds that this guy's birthday, the anniversary of the French Republic? Unbelievable, Notice, too, that he died at the age of 22. His birthday on the 22nd day of September. He died at age 22. He died 22 days before his birthday. The guy that he crashed into the wall with was Juan Manuel Correa. Notice his birthday, August 9th. That means that this guy's birthday was 22 days before the wreck. So he crashes into a wall with a guy whose birthday was 22 days before. Then he dies at the age of 22 days before his own birthday. I mean, born on the 22nd day. If you go back to my old posts, just want to pull it up and show you. April 29th, I even mentioned how this day was important to the number 22 because it's the 22nd anniversary of Princess Diana dying in France. And NASCAR was founded by Bill France. And there's a lot of king symbolism going on. And think about the movie The Lion King, and think about how this guy is from Lyon, France, that looks a lot like lion. And I've been mentioning how the Lion King and this lion symbolism is really synced up to France all year. And August 10th, the 227th anniversary of the fall of the French monarchy this year, just so happened to also be World Lion Day, that was during the time of Leo in astrology, which is the lion. And on the same day that this guy died, we got a story about stabbing. Let me go back here. We got a mainstream story about a stabbing in this town. Lyon, France. A stabbing. 1 dead, 9 injured, right? A lot like a 19 in the year 19. The only victim who died was 19 years old, supposedly. What are the odds, Then the very next day, we get a story about on 9/1, or 1/9 in France is how they would write it, right? September 1st, 1/9 in France. We get a story about flash floods that kill people in Kenya's Hell's Gate. And Kenya's Hell's Gate is just so happens to be where the Lion King was set on, right? The Lion King setting was in Hell's Gate National Park. And of course, this is all synced up by the numbers as well, too. Like, let me find it here. It was 44 days after the new Lion King came out. 44 days. If you write out Lion King, it equals 44. If you write out Hell's Gate, it equals 44. Flash Flood, 44. Simba, who's the Lion King, that equals 44. The story is on 9/1. Simba also equals 91. Lion King also equals 91. What are the odds? And in regards to 44, everything about Dale Earnhardt was about the number 44. His mom died when he was the age 44. She died of cancer, that equals 44. Chemo equals 44. Cigarettes equal 44. Earnhardt equals 44. Her name was Brenda, that equals 44. Her last name was Jackson, that equals 44. Then they gave us a story about how he's going to do a tribute to his father on August 31st, 4 months and 4 days before his birthday, or 4 months and 4 days before he did the race. And he drives the Hellman's car, right? Hellman's equals 44. It was also in the Xfinity race. Xfinity equals 44. The word kill equals 44. It's a number we've seen a lot of times around death. So how interesting, a guy dies on this day, and he's from France, exactly what I talked about, in every one of these videos and blog posts that I've been making about it. Princess Diana was also important in this narrative because she at one point was married to Prince Charles, who, you know, Charleses in the history of kings of England, they were the kings during the English Civil War. And King Charles I, he married Henrietta Maria of France, who was a Catholic, and he was the son of King James, who was a Protestant. So it caused a rift, right? Then they had the English Civil War. He was married to a French Catholic they got married, or I can't think of what it's called, what the word is. He wasn't there, but they got married in front of the Notre Dame Cathedral. And then we had the Notre Dame Cathedral fire that was synced up to Garth Brooks singing at the Notre Dame University earlier this year. Remember Garth Brooks sang the song Standing Outside the Fire? And then at the Notre Dame fire, there was a bunch of people videoing it, standing outside the fire. And look at this, Garth Brooks equals 134. And the Notre Dame fire just so happened to happen 134 days after Garth Brooks sang at Notre Dame University. And if you write out King Charles III, which he would become if he becomes the king, that also equals 134. And also Tisha Bob equals 134. Interesting 82 like NASCAR, but it equals 134. And August 10th this year, which was the 227th anniversary of the fall of the French monarchy, it just so happened to be the beginning of Tisha Bob this year as well. So, a lot of interesting things going on. Obama once said that he was the Lion King. Look at Barack Obama's name. Barack Obama. Look at his full name. Barack Hussein Obama II. It also equals 134. And he said he was the Lion King at the 2011, I can't think of what it's called right now, the presidential dinner, can't think of what it's, White House Correspondents' meeting, right? In April, just before they got Osama bin Laden, supposedly, right? But he made fun of Donald Trump like crazy at that. And just think about Donald Trump, Barack Obama, who's the Lion King. There's a lot going on with this lion symbolism, right? We had the Lion air crash back in October. Then we had the Ethiopian airline crash in March, on March 10th. And they even made it a big deal of how they were synced up together and the airplanes were bad and so on. And Ethiopia is where the lion of the tribe of Judah comes from. His name's Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie equals 227. Interesting, his name equals 124, just like the Lion King, right? The Lion King 124. So there's definitely something really important to what is going on with this lion theme and the Lion King. And also when Dale Earnhardt Jr., his plane crash happened, just to put it in perspective, his plane crash happened in the town of Elizabethton. Elizabethton, think about who was the Queen of England right now. Queen Elizabeth, and when she dies, Prince Charles will become King Charles, or he could possibly become King George VII, but I think he'll probably become King Charles III. But just think about it. Elizabethton, there's this plane crash. Then on the anniversary of Princess Diana dying, the 22nd anniversary, we get a 22-year-old from France who dies 22 days before his birthday. That's on the 22nd day of the month. Also on the anniversary of the French Revolution, or the French Republic beginning. And the guy he crashes into, his birthday was 22 days before that crash. Honestly, I think that a lot of this stuff there's something important to oil as well. There's absolutely something synced up to oil symbolism. Think about NASCAR and oil and so on. And back in November, we had the Yellow Vest movements that were in France, and they began because of gas and oil. And then we got the death of George H.W. Bush on November 30th. And think about him in regards to, the war in Iraq and oil and so on, right? Desert Storm. There's something going on with oil symbolism. And The reason I even say this even more is that when Princess Diana died, Princess Diana, let me find her death here. The guy that she died with was named, or one of the guys that she died with was named Dadi Fayed, or however you pronounce it. And what's interesting about him is that let me see here, his cousin is Jamal Khashoggi, the guy who died last August. He got assassinated, right? And it was a big old deal. Jamal Khashoggi, or however you say his name, but he got assassinated by the king of Saudi Arabia, and his name's Mohammed bin Salman. And notice when his birthday is. August 31st, right? The anniversary of Princess Diana dying, with this guy's cousin who just got executed just before the Yellow Vest movement. And think about Saudi Arabia and oil. And also think about the same day that George Bush died, we got an earthquake in Alaska. And think about Alaska in regards to the oil reserves. Think about how we've been getting tons of stories with Texas as well. On the same day that we got this death in NASCAR, we got a story about the Odessa attack or whatever, right? So there's a story about Texas. We begin how the Houston Texans are trading, Clowney, and they got Laramie Tunzel and all kinds of stuff with the Houston Texans. Then we had Andrew Luck retire on Vince McMahon's birthday, right? And it was all synced up to Houston. Andrew Luck played high school football in Houston, and it was synced up to 2016, where the Super Bowl was held in Houston. And if you think about Houston in regards to oil, Houston used to have the football team called the Oilers that Andrew Luck's father even played for, I believe, right? So there's absolutely something important to oil within all of this. And, that's just been an ongoing narrative for a number of years, right? All of these wars, they tell us they're all about oil, or they don't tell us that, but that's what a lot of people think, that's what a lot of people are led to believe, that it's all about oil, even though, like, the government says it's not about oil, and possibly it's not even about oil, but it just, that's something we've been programmed with, people who question things, we've been programmed that it's all about oil, when there's a lot more going on than just oil. But I'm just bringing it up. There's something important to oil within all of this. And I've been talking about this for a while now. So clear back in November, or when George Bush died, I remember talking about how oil was. But, Texas is important to oil. Texas is a leading place with oil. Alaska's like the third place, I believe, and North Dakota, I believe, is the second. So there's definitely something going on. So also, in bringing all that up with Andrew Luck, and Andrew Luck announcing his retirement on August 24th, which was August 11th on the Julian calendar, something that I have been following as well, because that's been super important to what is going on this year. Julian Edelman won the MVP of the Super Bowl. Then we got the Ides of March attack that was in New Zealand, right? The Christchurch, New Zealand. Something we had talked about almost a whole year in advance, or like 6 months in advance, to watch out for the Ides of March. Then we got this major shooting at a mosque on the Ides of March. But think about Julius Caesar, the guy who made the Julian calendar. Then Julian Edelman was the guy who got arrested and whatnot. So I knew there was something important. And I just want to point this out here. This guy, when he died, this Hubert guy, originally he ran into this guy, or was it this guy? Hold on. The Juan Manuel guy that he crashed into the wall with, that guy's from Ecuador, which was big with the Julian Assange thing. And also Hulk Hogan's birthday is the Gregorian August 11th, and this big narrative that I've been following with a lot of what has been going on this year is with Tisha Bob and August 11th, and it was Hulk Hogan and Philadelphia and SummerSlam and a number of other things, but I'll leave a link in the description for that. But Remember the greatest Royal Rumble last year before Jamal Khashoggi died? We got the greatest Royal Rumble that was in Saudi Arabia. And then later we got the Crown Jewel. Let's see if I can find it here. WWE. Crown Jewel. That was just after Jamal Khashoggi had died. So the WWE is definitely synced up to it. Think about the Crown Jewel, the Royal Rumble in regards to the royal family. So, Thinking thinking about Tisha Bob. Remember how I showed how Tisha Bob equals 134? 134. King Charles III equals 134. So this 9th of Av, that equals 134, which is how you'd write Tisha Bob in English, basically. If you go from August 31st to 111, the date of J.D. Gibbs dying, and NASCAR equals 111, and so on, it's 134 days, a span of 134 days, and I pointed out that that's also Tyler Reddick's birthday, and Tyler Reddick equals 134, and he's the guy who's winning the Xfinity right now in NASCAR. But I'm just wondering, in regards to that, the date of 111, Queen Elizabeth is born on the 111th day of the year. So 9/11 happened on the day that leaves 111 days in the year. So there's something synced up to that, right? Think about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia equals 41, just like Al-Qaeda equals 41, just like how airplanes equal 41. 9/11 happened on a date numerology of 41, 9 plus 11 plus 20 plus 11. That equals 41. Remember how the Yankees upset the Mariners 41 days after 9/11? Remember how Tom Brady came out of nowhere? And after Drew Bledsoe got hurt against the Jets, the New York Jets, then Tom Brady comes out of nowhere and wins the Super Bowl just after 9/11 and the Patriot Act, and the Patriots go on to win the Super Bowl. In regards to, tons of other stuff. I'm not even going to go on with it, but I don't know. Makes me think about Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iran, just a whole area in general. So we'll see what's going on with the narrative. We'll keep following the news. I know there's something important to oil in regards to all of it, and this stupid lion theme that just hasn't went away forever. That lion theme was really important to the number 310. And remember, this big date in 2015 that we were talking about was 9/23 when Pope Francis, right? Think about France, but he visited the White House on 9/23. At 9:23 in the morning, it was his 900 and came to America on his 923rd day as Pope, and a bunch more. But he arrived in America on 9/22, the anniversary of the French Republic being established, and then later that year, it was 52 days later, we got the Paris, France attacks, right? On November 13th, the day before Prince Charles's birthday. And I'm bringing that up because 310 days before that attack in France, we got the Charlie Hebdo attack, right? Think about Prince Charles, Charlie Hebdo. Then we got Charlie Sheen coming out and saying he had HIV right after the Paris attacks, right? He had tiger's blood. Then we got a story in the mainstream media about how the Missouri Tigers had a hunger strike, right? Charlie Sheen has tiger's blood. Just never ending. All kinds of train symbolism going on. That year earlier in 2015, we had that Falls French train attack, and then we got a Roseburg, Oregon shooting, and one of the guys who saved the lives on that train was supposedly from Roseburg, Oregon, right? Oh, the odds. That was also the year that Back to the Future, the Cubs were supposed to win Back to the Future. Remember Doc Brown returns on the train time machine? There was a train wreck in Philadelphia that year. There was a train wreck in Vermont that year. Jared from Subway, I believe, got arrested. Jared from Subway. Remember how South Park has that episode called Jared Has AIDS or something? Can't remember what it was, but yeah. Arrested in 2015. Jared has AIDS. And think about Magic Johnson and AIDS. Think about the movie Team America that's made by the creators of South Park that starts off with everyone has AIDS right after the terrorist attack in France. It was all synced up to a bunch of this stuff. So we'll leave the video there, like I said. Just following this narrative. We'll see what happens. But an absolute death, all synced up to exactly what I was talking about. It wasn't within Xfinity, but it was just synced up to racing in general. So have a good one. Peace.